Okay, thanks
Good.
everyone.
Over to Gemma. Thank you.
So yeah, I'm going to talk about a scalable approach today. I'm talking how we've used technology to kind of embed commercial awareness and digital interview skills for our life sciences students. So this work is very much a team effort. So I'm a lecturer in the School of Life Sciences at Liverpool, and my two colleagues, Jen and Jace, are also heavily involved in this work, and they're based in our university careers and employability team. So I really just wanted to showcase how we've embedded this digital interview technology and also how we've brought employer voices onto the curriculum. Obviously, we're all keen to bring employers onto curriculum, but it needs to be in a manageable way, both in terms of their invested time in it and also for the students and staff. So what we've done is we've completely reimagined our approach to an employability assessment, which takes place in our Year 2 skills module. And I say it needs to be scalable. We've got 430 students on that module. It's a whole school module, and it's based in Year 2. So I'm first just going to spend a little bit of time talking about why there was the need for this. You'll see from the kind of first quote here, collaboration between academics and employability staff is kind of key to increasing graduate employability. We're also aware that there's this commercial awareness skills gap in the life sciences sector. So we were quite keen to make sure we've embedded commercial awareness as part of this assessment. Also, many employers are now using digital interview technology as part of their interview process, whether that be to kind of streamline the number of applicants at the start. So we were quite keen to make students give them the experience of this process. And then similarly, lots of employers are looking at LinkedIn, as I'm sure you're all aware, and they're becoming increasingly vigilant of what's going on in LinkedIn and using that to reach graduates at scale. So I'm now going to spend a bit of time talking about the assessment. So as I said, it's a Year 2 skills module that this assessment was based in, and there's 430 students. And our students are in small tutorial groups, so the work's actually marked by a team of 80 to 90 academic advisors. So traditionally, we had like a traditional job application. Students would then have a mock interview with their academic advisor, which in some ways is not a very authentic assessment. They know their academic advisors quite well. So we wanted to kind of have a more kind of realistic experience. We're quite lucky in the School of Life Sciences. We have a week off timetable every year for our students, which is known as Life Sciences Employability Week. And during this week, we have lots of different employability events and sessions taking place. One of the types of sessions that we have in this week is we have live employer panels. So we get lots of different employers to come along, talk about the types of roles they have, answer student questions, engage with the students. So that was a pre-existing event that we've aligned this new assessment to. We're also quite keen to obviously embed all of our university graduate attributes, so authentic assessment, active learning, digital fluency, confidence. I'm sure many of these things are kind of part of your university's plans. The software that we used to introduce this digital interview technology was known as ShortlistMe. So the new assessment was essentially a short video interview through ShortlistMe. We asked our students to update their LinkedIn profiles. They also had to register on our university career system, which is known as Handshake, and submit a written CV and cover letter. So I've already mentioned we had these live employer panels as part of the Employability Week. So we really took advantage of these panels. So we chose 7 employers who were attending these panels, and we asked students to go along to one that interested them and essentially find out more about the employers, try to find out, kind of become more commercially aware, so that they could include this information as part of their application. And we found that this was really good. It kind of connected the students to employers a lot more. So we had this commercial awareness focused interview, and this was very much employer-led. So we asked the employers to record an introduction to the job that they were kind of advertising. And then because we had these 7 different employers, 3 of the questions that students were kind of the same across all in 3 employers. But then for the 4th question, we asked the employers to come up with a skills-based question that was particularly relevant to their employment area. So we're quite lucky at Liverpool in that luckily we partnered with Shortlist Me just before the pandemic and lockdown. I'm sure many of your institutions have probably got similar partnerships with kind of digital interview technology providers. So it's this digital platform, and it essentially replicates the recruitment process. It's a platform that's used by lots of employers already. So people like the NHS use it, AstraZeneca use it. So it is a real piece of software that students might encounter. For this task, we asked students to do an asynchronous video interview. And as I said, we've used the employers to record the questions for us. So prior to setting up the assessment, we asked all the employers to give us an introduction to the job and then ask the actual video questions on video. The other benefits of the platform are that you can build into it kind of key review points. So when the students are recording their answers, once they've recorded their answers, they can click through to see if they've included what they think are the key points. It allows you to re-record, and also the platform offers almost instant artificial intelligence feedback, things like word speed, use of filler words. So we're now, hopefully technology permitting, I'm at the mercy of the technology, just wanting to play a very short video which kind of shows the process that the students went through. So fingers crossed, 1, it plays, and secondly, that 2 will have sound. I think we're playing. So all of the students received a personalised email invite to their video interview. They essentially clicked on the link, and then it would take them to an introduction.
Hello, my name's Anna, and I'm a consultant clinical scientist within the NHS in Liverpool, and more particularly in the field of clinical biochemistry. I'm going to ask you a few questions about the NHS and what you feel you could actually bring to the organisation. After each question, you're going to have the opportunity to watch your answer back and compare it to the answer guidance that has been provided. You can then perfect your performance, and you've got the option to actually go back and re-attempt questions where you feel you might want to improve or there's room for improvement. This is a great way for you to develop your commercial awareness and digital interview skills, and I hope that you actually enjoy the task. Good luck and have fun.
So once they've heard the introduction, they go through some individual steps just to check their sound, their recording, bandwidth, and then the employer moved on to asking the first question.
So what do you know about the NHS and the nature and scale of our operation?
So the employer asks a question, and then there's a little bit of thinking time built in for the students to think about the type of answer that they might give, and then they begin to record.
The national organisation aims to deliver the best possible quality of care to UK residents. I know that in England the NHS is dependent on government level funding.
The student then goes through these self-review points I mentioned earlier, and then they can either submit their answer or they get the ability to re-record. Basically, their answer uploads. They'd obviously have more questions.
Well done, and that's the end of the interview. Well done on completing this interview. And I hope you've actually enjoyed researching the NHS and also perhaps the STP programme, and that completing this task, you actually feel better prepared for your next interview as a result. Thank you.
They then get an email to say, congratulations on completing your video interview, and the link to this automated feedback. So just to quickly show you, it gives them their word speed, it gives them their use of filler words for the different questions. So after this kind of AI feedback, we then had our academic advisors go in and mark the video interviews for the students using a rubric, and then they would go in and mark the job applications and cover letters. So I've probably not got a lot of time, but what we found was this approach has been really impactful in lots of different ways. Firstly, it meant that we were able to use these assessments and students were able to get this bespoke interview with an employer during kind of the pandemic when teaching moved online. In many ways, it's a much more inclusive approach. Students could complete the video interview in their own time around other commitments. It was really beneficial for the students as well in terms of we found lots more students attended these live employer panels and were asking lots of questions in order to develop that commercial awareness that they could include in their applications. So we saw a 60% increase compared to the year when we didn't have this task. We can also see as well that students are building, kind of developing their employability further. There's been lots of increases in the membership of our Life Sciences LinkedIn community group. Students are also, as I said before, we got them to activate their profiles on the University Careers Platform Handshake. And we've seen like 92% of the students actually did this. So this is much higher than the university average, which is around 56%. And also, it's been pleasing to see that they've not just been on there for this assessment, they've continued to go on there and look for studentships across the summer, other vacancies and other types of experience. We also ask our students about their career readiness in year 3. And in the most recent year, we found that 35% of the students felt ready to connect with employers. And this was around 8% higher than previous years who didn't have this task. It's also been a much better use in terms of resources of the academic advisors' times, because rather than scheduling these one-to-one interviews, they've been able to use that time to actually provide feedback on the task rather than the kind of logistics. We've also done a student survey to kind of look at the impact on things like student confidence and commercial awareness. One of the things to say is prior to this task, only around 10% of our students had done a video interview. So that was great to see now that they've all got this experience in a kind of not the real thing way. We also found it increased our students' confidence. So we saw an increase of 43%. And also in terms of demonstrating this commercial awareness, that increased by 30%. So just to really summarise, this is obviously quite a transferable assessment. If you've got an existing careers event, you could align to that, or you could approach employers to record these kind of short introductions and questions. Some of you may be thinking, well, I don't have access to Shortlist Me. You might have, your careers team might have access to other software. Another thing we thought of is you could use something like Flipgrid maybe to record the questions and set up a similar type of assessment. So yeah, we're really pleased with how it's gone, and it's kind of being rolled out as well now to staff in terms of people applying for research fellowship interviews and lots of other places. So I know I'm conscious of time. Just wanted to say thanks for listening, but also thanks to our employer, Anna, who let us use her video, and our student, Natalie, who I thought was quite brave to let me show her digital interview video. And I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much. The only comment I've got on Padlet is great talk, really like this.
Oh, no, that's great, thank you.
Any questions for Gemma? Sorry, you were right in the spotlight there, Julia.
You give guidance on the kind of what I guess I feel the softer stuff, like background and threats, and particularly, I mean, the little example you gave there, you know, the person was looking down at the camera rather than having it at eye level. I mean, you give guidance on that type of thing.
Yeah, so I should have said that we have like asynchronous podcasts with lots of information beforehand on things like CV writing, kind of presentation and things within your video interview. And in this assessment, students could re-record their answers. Lots of students also took the opportunity to have like a formative before they took the real assessment. But yeah, we do give kind of guidance alongside it as well.
Another question? If not, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks to all the speakers for this last session. We had a really